GM builders, welcome to episode 4 of Building Onchain podcast. Today's builder is Gayatri. She is a marketer turned dev who has been doing a lot of shipping and building. Hi, Gayatri. Yeah, so how's it going? How are you?
Good. It's been a busy day today, launching another product today. So we excited for that.
No, yeah, I'm really excited also about that your ship rate is insane. Starting off with intros, I
Yeah.
like to ask my guests if you were stuck in an elevator for 60 seconds with your all time favorite builder or, I don't know, founder, someone you admire, how would you introduce yourself? 60 seconds.
Okay. I think so hi, I'm Gayatri and I'm a self-taught developer. I was in marketing, but I thought myself building because I wanted to build products on the internet and get users and more specifically solve problems that I have, and I solve problems that I see that a lot of people are having, and which is why I started to learn coding, and now I will call myself as an indie builder building small products on Web3.
That was a perfect intro, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about like your journey to Web3 as a builder. What was the first thing that you built on chain and how was that experience?
I think journey on chain started only this year around Feb March, which is when I got onto Farcaster. So before that, I didn't do anything per se into Web3. I was more into AI and ChatGPT and all of those things. But yeah, I think once I got on Farcaster, I started building like things on Farcaster, and I think my first product, which was on chain, was a simple frame from which you could airdrop tokens. So that was the first thing I will say that I had built on chain. Yeah.
So what was it like going from building AI products to building on chain?
For me, I did not see it like a lot of difference because all I was thinking about is trying to solve problems that I'm seeing people have on Farcaster, or just problems that I, as a user, see when I'm coming on Farcaster for the first time. So I was just building those kind of thing, and even when I was building things with AI, there also I was solving problems. So that way I felt not much of a difference. I think the only difference would be the technicality of on-chain things that you do, like what is a smart contract or what are hubs and all, getting understanding of that. But apart from that, I didn't feel much of a difference. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Like the perspective you had going into it with like problem solving, but also at the same time, there are all these terms and concepts for on-chain building, like wallets, smart contracts, events, and all those things that you have to at least have a good understanding of, even if you're building a front end for an on-chain application. So yeah, since you've started building on like Farcaster and on chain, you've built quite an amount of things. What would you say is the coolest thing you've built so far on chain?
I think you always feel your next product is the coolest. So I feel the one I'm going to launch today is the coolest. But till otherwise, if I go to say, I think based coffee, I feel is was something very interesting that I built because it's like a crowdfunding, all that is happening on the Farcaster frame, and yeah, it has like a smart contract and it's handling transactions. It also showing a live progress bar of how the goal is being met and everything. So I think that was quite cool, and I really enjoyed doing building that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm like, I actually looked at the because it was part of the on-chain summer buildathon and there was this whole voting and all. So that was one of the projects that I was intrigued by. So since you've been in Web3, have you had any experience with rogues so far?
Thankfully, no.
I'm happy to hear that you haven't gotten robbed so far. I hope you don't have that
Also because
experience.
I am just a little bit too careful. I don't just connect my wallet to anything.
No, as you should, as you should. I think that at this point there is a lot more awareness on wallet safety, developer safety. So the obvious pitfalls that a lot of people used to have are less likely to happen. Also, props to you for being very, very careful. Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Let's talk about like Farcaster frames. How many frames have you built in the past few months since February?
Sure, but should be around at least 10. I don't know. Yeah. I've not counted it, but like there are some frames that I've built for other brands, like as a contract, and then some things that I built for myself. So around 10 for sure, you know.
Okay. So do you feel like your marketing background has helped you as a developer? Just because I think that, and I've spoken to a number of builders at this point, I think that one of the problems like builders face is like building but not finding fit, not getting attention in terms of users and funding. And what's your perspective on just like shipping but having that balance of
Yeah.
shipping things that people want to use?
I think more than the marketing background, I think what really has helped me is I'm just trying to solve my own problems, and people also have the same problems. And I think what you said, like, yeah, developers do struggle with getting users. I think I've just been lucky that what I'm sharing people are liking, but I wouldn't say I've done any marketing for any of my products. The only thing I'm doing is I'm just building and I'm shipping, and like even my Farcaster account, if you see, it's not like I'm consciously making content. Half of the time, I'm just asking people questions of, oh, this thing is not working. This is how I want to do things. So I'm just doing that. But I think at least on Farcaster that works because we are still in a small community where people like to see what people are doing and all. I think once it gets more bigger, you move to different platforms like Twitter or Instagram. There you have to be more conscious of the content you're putting, and then I think then there is where you really have to think about the marketing of the product because it's such a huge audience, and uh, people like want to see good content, and over there maybe people are not so open to just people building and just doing it, like just asking questions. They want to see more content. So I think Farcast as a platform really helps builders who are just starting or everything because it just feels like a more close-knit community.
Uh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing. So, for building frames, I know that like not everyone knows actually what frames are and like what Farcaster is, and we've been talking about that for a bit. So, can you share a bit about like what basically what Farcaster is, especially from a like builder point of view? What Farcaster is, what frames are, and like how someone can get started with building frames, get good resources and things like that.
Sure. Sure. So I think Farcaster, in a very simple way, is a s- social protocol which enables you to have a social graphs, and then you can have different clients, right? So Webcast is one client, so Overcast is another client. So we have to think about like if you have your Twitter following, now all those users are just not in the Twitter's database somewhere, but it's on an open chain, and any person can get that data and use that social graph to create different experiences. So it like in another example, it will be like you're taking your Twitter following and putting it onto Instagram as well, right? Like that's like a simple example that I can give. So Farcaster is a social protocol which enables you to do that on chain. And yeah, Webcast is one of the clients, and what the team at Farcaster is doing is coming with really, I think I will say, cool and innovative things. Uh, and one of them is frames. Now, frames is in technical terms an open graph image, uh, but the way the team enables it to be rendered on Webcast is you can have a lot of interactions on it. You can have buttons, you can have, so the image becomes very dynamic, and then you can have API calls to generate those images. Yeah, I don't know, maybe if I went a little too technical, but that what frames will be. So it's like, think about on a website link that you're sharing on Twitter, that having buttons so that you can see the website content in that image itself without going outside of Twitter, right? So that is what frames is. And I think to start with, I will say, for builders, the resources as such is not very widely available, because all of these things are in a very nascent stage, right? I think frames must have not even completed 6 months. I'm not sure, right? So the resource that I go to is the documentation that the Farcaster team has, or there are two frameworks, which is called Frog and FrameJS, and they have this documentation, which is what I refer to most of the time to build anything, because it's like quite good comprehensive docs. And yeah, if someone has a good understanding of your basic JavaScript, your HTML, they can read through the doc and start building it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I think you did it really good on the explanation and we painting a picture of how frames basically allow you interact with like websites in the app with buttons without having to like live similar to Telegram mini apps. Just out of curiosity, have you built any Telegram mini app?
I've built just once, so I'm part of this community called FBI, which is Farcaster Builders of India, and we have like around 1,000 members, and it's a pretty active group. So it's like if you don't see messages for a day, you have like, I don't know, 300, 400 messages. So with another of my builder friend, I built a bot which uses AI to give you a nice summary out of it. So that is one thing, yeah. That's the only one I've used, built, but not really marketed it, just for the community use. Yeah.
Oh no, that's interesting. So I'm actually curious about that because I'm in a group chat called it's like the Yapping Club, but then the group chat is called Vibe Erators. And we have like 1,000 messages like in a couple of hours. And so maybe that
Yes.
would be like useful for us to. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Speaking of FBI, how does that community work to support builders? Like I've seen a lot of the posts everywhere, and I know that like there was a cohort where you all shipped things. Are you guys still
Yeah.
shipping? What are like some of the plans? Is it something that people can join? Just give us all the alpha.
So I think FBA started around in January by Soumya and a group of builders from India. What they wanted to do was just build products on Farcaster, and this, yeah, I think they started shipping, talking about it, and now the group is around 1,000 people, and that's open to anyone to join. Like you can join. I think you'll get the link on the FBI channel in Farcaster. The main the goal, I think, with which Soumya started is was to enable people to understand what Farcaster is and how they can build on that, and then eventually get users for their products and stuff. And which is why they started with this thing called fellowship. So it's like a 4-week program where the team helps you to come up with an idea, then connect you with other team members, and as a team you ship a product. And I think few of the people have gone on to take their products ahead. Like for me, I shipped drafts from it, and then now I'm taking drafts ahead, building on it, getting more users. And then we also had a summer camp fellowship, which was again a 1 month thing where people came together to build products for the buildathon, on-chain buildathon. And I think from there also, like, there were some amazing products which came out, and then people are building on it. So the whole idea of FBI is a community where anyone can come, learn what are the new things from each other, support each other, and build products on chain. Yeah.
No, thank you so much for like giving more clarity on that. What is something that, and I hope that you can share, I hope it's not something secret, but what is something that FBI is planning or like working on that you're excited about?
I think FBI is always having something interesting. I think one thing now they are doing is FBI games, which is like some games that they plan on Farcast and people can do. So that's interesting. I think another thing interesting is called a based house that they are setting up in Goa, India, where builders can come and stay and hang out with each other and build things together. I think so. Those two things are very interesting that is coming up.
Okay. That sounds really fun. So the based
Yeah.
house
Oh,
is like okay, go on.
Yeah, based on is like in Hacker House. I think, and just one thing that recently they just shipped this thing called FBI Labs. So it's like a product studio where anyone who wants to get something built on Web3, they can connect with FBI and they will get it done for them. Yeah.
Nice, nice. It makes sense that if you have like a group of builders and everybody is like shipping and getting so much attention, you should you could do that for
Right.
other people and make an agency or a product studio around that. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing the alpha. Um, about your journey, like going from being a marketer to developer and then like from AI to um, building on chain, what are some of the things that you feel helped you with like making that
Mhm.
transition and with like just getting to shipping, like not overthinking things and also I know that there might have been some struggles or confusion, learning a lot. So
Yes.
getting over those like hurdles. What are some of the things that helped you?
I think one thing that really helped me was the support that I got from my boyfriend, because he was the one who pushed me to get into coding. He was like, you should do this. And he's also a developer, and like he's been doing this for a very long time. So he's a lot of experience. So that really helped, right? Because he was the one who could guide me, like, okay, this is the courses you should do, this is how this thing works and stuff. So that guidance really helped because it's like if you do it on your own, it will take much more time because you may not know the things, where to find things and all. So his guidance really helped. Then I think now we have some amazing courses online which really helped me. So I did it from free code camp, and all their courses were really good. And once I got, I think, into on-chain or Web3, what really helped here was how open people were to try out things that I was doing, plus give me feedback, also guide me on things, how I can improve. In FBI, like, we have such amazing people who getting stuck anywhere, I'll just have to put it on the group, and like in just 5 minutes, someone will come up and say, okay, yeah, let me help you, or this is how it's done. So that really helps, because for someone like coming from a non-tech background to tech, there are a lot of things that I have to understand because I don't have like a base in tech at all. So yeah, like I have to understand. So people just being patient and making giving you the time to explain things really helps. So that way, I think I've been lucky to be part of this group where they are doing that. And apart from that, the other thing I think that you just have to be is just be consistent and persistent, because coding things break, right? Like you will do something and you will be like it's just not working, and you will be stuck on, like I've been stuck on things for weeks, right? Like, and it is just not moving ahead. But you just have to be persistent, and then you'll find that way out. And once you find the way out and the product is out there and people start using it, then that is what something you love. So yeah, I whenever I get stuck, I just think of what problem this solution is solving, and when it's done, how good I will feel, and then I just push through it.
No, that is like amazing. That is amazing advice. But it was not really advice, it was just like you sharing what has
Yeah.
helped you. But it covered all the bases, like having good support system, being consistent,
Yeah.
persistent, sticking things through, and just like using all the available resources that
Yeah.
because there are a lot of resources actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like, and now with AI like ChatGPT, Claude, that they also help you a lot when you're getting stuck. So I like to make use of that also. And YouTube, like, best thing, you'll get all the answers there.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that. So now let's talk a little bit about what you're building. You mentioned at the start of the call you are building something you're about to launch. Is this something that you can share, or is it like we'll see it when you announce it?
I can share about it. So, basically, I think we started working on this almost about like a month ago. So, another like I got connected to one of the founders from Africa. I think you might know him, Yele. He runs Onboard. So, he had this idea of starting this thing called Bren, which is like your base friends. So how do you recognize people who are doing good things on base? And so he had all this idea of like a point system where if I'm seeing someone build something good, I want to give them like 100 brands just for their creativity or their teamwork. And so it's we have taken the base values and built out a point system around it, where which people can use on Farcaster. So that is what we are going to launch, and then we have plans on how we want to take it forward. And even like eventually it will become a part of the onboard protocol as well. So yeah, like right now we are doing like a soft launch where we have whitelisted around 600 people who can take part into it, and then once we have this testing done, then we'll launch it properly, probably in a week or two.
That sounds really interesting. I think I also saw Yele post somewhere that he has something he's about to launch. So this is kind of like a sneak peek. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing. So, okay, that's what you're currently working on. Let's talk about some of your past projects. So I know that I mean, you mentioned you've built like 10 frames for different purposes. I know that you also built like some AI tools and like applications in the past, one of which got acquired. So,
Yes.
yeah, tell me about it, the process of like getting a product that you built acquired. What do you think you did that worked well? And what, with the knowledge you have now, you could have done like better or differently? Just like give me your perspective and thoughts around getting acquired.
So, the product that acquired was like an AI companion to help you write better resumes, cover letters. So it was more into the job market. And I think what we could have done better was market it and get more users. I think we just did like one small launch on Twitter, got like a handful of users, and but after that we didn't work on the product at all. And I think 6 months down the line, we were like seeing other people also have similar products and getting good users and everything. And we were like, do we want to continue, like maybe pursuing it, or maybe see an alternate route? And that is when we decided, let us just put it out on micro acquire and all these platforms, and let's see. Because we knew the idea and the product had merit, but it was just that we were not motivated enough to market it, right? Because we had moved on some other ideas and we were doing those things. So just went on different platform, listed it, and got a few buyers interested. And yeah, after like I think just a week of talks and all, we decided to sell it to a company based out of Australia, because they wanted to rebrand it and make it more specific to the Australian market. And we thought, okay, they will do a good job with it. So yeah, then we sold it to them. Worked with them on like a month after that to add more functionalities. I think they had few good ideas which we didn't think of before. So yeah, that was an interesting experience of getting acquired. It was not for a lot of money, a very small amount, but it was a good experience to see. Okay, it's the beauty of the internet on like all of these platform is like you build something, if it has value but you don't have the time to market it, there are people out there who are looking for it, and they'll take it and make the product better and give users that solution that they need. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was like insightful to um to hear. So the next question I want to ask you, actually, I'm thinking it's like two questions, but I'm just going to like ask it and feel free to answer anyhow. So I wanted to ask you about like having one of your applications going viral and having like a ton of users in a short time. Like, what is that like? I know you had that happen with like Worthcast. Um, and I don't know if that was like expected or you kind of had a feeling that it was going to do well just because of like knowledge of Farcaster and what people would like to interact with. And then the second question I want to ask is just about like going from just building things from for fun to building things and like building things for real, like getting like clients, getting paid, getting grants, that sort of thing. So that's like the two
Second,
questions.
first part, I think Worthcast was something that from the time I got the idea, I knew that it has that potential to be viral. And I wanted to build that because I wanted to learn how one of the products work. So it's built on Airstack, which like gives you API for Farcast, and they have a lot of different things. I just wanted to work on it, and this is the idea I had, and I think I shipped it in like a night. Because Airstack was also doing this bounty, and I think it was the last day, and I was like, no, I have to ship it. So I did that, and it was like I did it, and it was night, and I went to sleep. And by morning when I got up, I was like, oh, so many people. And I think it's even started to break because I did not have enough credits in my Airstack account, and I was like the money, like the cost was going way high, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. And but Airstack was gracious enough to say that they'll fund the whole thing, and it was nice. I think the idea of it came from me being a marketer, because in marketing you have all these formulas to see ad revenues and everything. So that's the whole thing I wanted to bring to the Farcaster followers, because I think you'll go and Google like what's the cost of posting on Instagram for a influencer, you'll get it. But I was like, yeah, let's just bring that same formula to Farcaster. And I knew it will go viral, but I didn't expect it to go so viral that everyone really liked it. And I think it was more about just a fun take also, because I think some of the values that some of the profiles had were ridiculous. Like it was so many dollars, but I think that was just a fun thing which also enabled people to have that fun talk and made it more viral. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first part of the question. On the second part, I think Yeah, like when you're moving from building something fun to something serious, one mindset shift that happens is like uh, you want to cater a lot to your users. So one of the products that I'm building on is Drafts, which is like your social media manager for Farcaster. I will say like your Hootsuite buffer alternative for Farcaster. And I have have had calls with users to get them onboarded, understand what features they need, build those features and everything. And that has been an interesting experience, and that is what has also got me one of the grants to for me able to get more users onto it, build it in a better way. I think when you're building something with a long term focus, it just requires more consistency and your openness to take feedback from your users, and just not be stuck on how you want your product to be, but build it with your users. And then yeah, that I think covers both the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a perfect answer. Thank you so much for sharing. So we're like winding down on the episode, and so this next series of questions, you can just like answer quickly. Do you have any like Web3 hot take that you could get cancelled?
I don't know if I can get cancelled for, but I just don't like these all the betting things that people keep building. Because like, it's not like I don't like it, it's just like I don't get it. Like, why do you need so many betting platforms? Uh and I just feel that is also the thing that people look at Web3 for, is like, oh, it's just about crypto tokens and all of those things. But I think it's much more than that. And yeah, I think though I think I don't think I can get cancelled for it, but that is something I don't like.
No, I get that. I also don't understand it a lot of the time and why there is like a new one every week. But thank you for saying and pointing that out. If you could build anything with no restrictions, what would you build and who would you build it with? I really love that you picked a very balanced team and clearly considered all the important things. What's the best and worst advice you ever gotten as a builder?
What I will build, I'm not sure. I'll have to think a lot. But whom I will build is very straightforward. There's my boyfriend who great developer. Then his name is Utkarsh. Then there's another developer that I know, Abhishek. And the third person will be, I think, Soumya, because he will bring in that marketing and the product perspective. Best advice I've ever gotten, I think, would be that yeah, build things that you want to see, or solve your own problems. Worst advice, I don't think people have given me very bad advice. I can't think of any worst advice that I've gotten.
No, I love it because you're just full of positivity and good advice. So thank you for sharing that. And my last question to you is, who is someone you would like to see on the podcast?
I think Soumya will be a great person for you to get to see all the things that he's doing with FBI.
Okay, we'll definitely love to have Sonia on. Can I sneak in another question? I think I'm going to sneak in the actual last question. What's your favorite on-chain meme?
Honestly, I think recently this base and optimism has come up with this Wiggles memes. Like, it's a cat meme. I don't know if you've seen it, but I
Yeah.
love them. They are so amazing. Because I love cats, and I love seeing those memes. Like, I just keep on, like, I just search that and I keep scrolling that.
OMG, I love the Mr. Wiggles meme. I'm also a big fan of cats, so I loved seeing all the funny memes and all the creative pieces that people came up with. That's a really good one. Thank you for sharing. And thank you so much, Gayatri, for this call. It's been so nice to learn about you, learn about what you've built, learn about what you're currently building. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
It was my pleasure. And that brings us to the end of this podcast. Bye, everyone.